Chelsea returned to Premier League action today to take on struggling Wolverhampton Wanderers at Stamford Bridge. After a long trip in the midweek of the UEFA Champions League away to Azerbaijan, where we played out a disappointing 2-2 draw against Karabakh. Can Chelsea bounce back to winning ways in front of our home fans after a disappointing loss in the last home game to Sunderland, where we lost by 2-1 before a trip to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to take on Tottenham Hotspur in a London derby, where Chelsea defeated Tottenham Hotspur by 1-0. So coming into this game, Chelsea is coming from the back of a 2-2 draw in the UEFA Champions League against Karabakh, talking about the Azerbaijan champion. And Chelsea also are coming into this game from the back of a home loss in round 9 of the English Premier League game against Sunderland, where we lost at home by 2-1. Can Chelsea bounce back to winning ways at home, or will Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have been struggling all season, bounce back? Or will Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have been in a complete mess and have been struggling all season, get their first 3 points at Stamford Bridge, as Chelsea are known to be Charity FC? Who knows, it can just happen, it's football. But then, 90 minutes of football would definitely be the judge in this particular encounter. So, we take a look at the Premier League standing. Currently, Chelsea are sitting 7th in the Premier League standing after 10 games, scoring 18 goals and conceding 11, while Wolverhampton Wanderers currently still sit bottom of the Premier League table, yet to win a league game this season, have just 2 points, have scored 7 goals and conceded 22 goals. Currently, goal difference for Wolverhampton Wanderers is -15. Can Wolverhampton Wanderers survive this season without going down to the Championship? Drop your thoughts down below. So, looking at the game between these two, the last time we met was just barely about a week ago in round 4 of the EFL Cup game, where Chelsea travelled all the way to the Millennium Stadium to defeat Wolverhampton Wanderers by 4-3 after a scintillating first half performance that put Chelsea 3 goals up in that particular encounter. And Chelsea returned into the second half complacent and almost gave away that particular victory, as Wolverhampton Wanderers fight back in that particular game in the second half to actually score 3 goals in that particular game in the second half. And Chelsea edged Wolverhampton Wanderers by 4-3 to book a place in the quarterfinal of the EFL Cup. So going into this game, Chelsea will be looking to get a home win against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and games of this nature is where Chelsea is expected to pick all 3 points with lots of goals scored, because if you take a look at the Premier League standing so far, the Premier League table is yet to get a balance, except for Arsenal Football Club, who currently sits on top with 25 points, 6 points ahead of second place Manchester City. So Arsenal actually have that point gap that even in the next 2 games, Arsenal still have opportunity to sit top of the Premier League. So looking at this particular game, from the second place to even the 11th position in the EPL standing, a win can actually cause a major shake-up in the Premier League standing, and goal difference might just be the major player going into this weekend. So what Chelsea need to do is to score lots of goals against struggling Wolverhampton Wanderers if we want to be among the top contenders in the Premier League this season. Wolverhampton Wanderers no doubt have been struggling all through the season, having played 10 games in the Premier League so far. They've lost 8. So coming into this game, after around 10 games, Wolverhampton Wanderers decided to sack Victor Pereira, talking about their former manager. And Wolverhampton Wanderers are coming into this game without a manager, but definitely someone is in charge that is bringing Wolverhampton Wanderers to Stamford Bridge. So we'll see how that game will play out today, late kickoff of the day, and that will be the last kickoff of today in the English Premier League. So going to this game, Enzo Maresca had his press conference yesterday, and Enzo Maresca actually in that press conference answered lots of questions that have been running through the mind of most Chelsea fans. And basically, big ups to all the journalists in that particular room, in that conference room. Enzo Maresca was asked about his rotational tactics and one of the questions that was put to Enzo Maresca, that as a player, if he actually loved rotation, and Enzo Maresca emphatically said yes, that as a player, I love rotation. So that was a direct answer from Enzo Maresca to the journalist that actually put that question to him, that as a player, he actually loved rotation. And Enzo Maresca went on to say, I think in this moment, football is a bit different compared to years ago because of physicality and intensity. 65 to 70 games a season, Champions League, Premier League, it was different years ago. You need to rotate. This is my personal view. Well, years ago, compared to the new format of the UEFA Champions League, more games are being played. And the season that just concluded, talking about the 2024-2025 season, Chelsea actually played 68 games in that last season. Now, my point here is there's no one who is against Enzo Maresca from rotating his team. Personally, I'm not against Enzo Maresca's rotation tactics when it comes to rotating players and giving some players playing time in order for them to learn and adapt in the game. But when you are doing your rotation, learn to create a balance whenever you want to rotate. Make your rotation according to the pedigree of that particular game. If it's the Champions League, create a balance in how you rotate the players, knowing fully well that we are talking about the Champions League and that no team is a pushover. You can't do your rotation in the Champions League as if it is the EFL Cup. It's not done. You can't make a rotation in the FA Cup game and compare it to the Champions League game. It's not done. Whenever you are making rotation as a manager, try to create a balance. If your defense line is weak, ensure that the defensive midfield can be able to should be strong enough to cover that weakness that the centre back might be having. Because this season, majorly, that is the problem Chelsea is currently having. So nobody is against team rotation. Personally, I like seeing rotation, but whenever you are doing your rotation, try to create a balance in order for some aspect of the pitch not to actually suffer. So Enzo Maresca was asked whether rotating defenders causes inconsistency. And here is his response in that press conference. I think first of all, with Lever injury, we lost our best defender in terms of build-up. From there, we tried to solve problems and adjust things. We tried to find different solutions last game. We kept a clean sheet with Trev and West. They told me this morning that last year, after 11 games, we had 2 clean sheets. And this year, after 11 games, we have 4 clean sheets. So, I don't know. Invariably, Enzo Maresca is trying to justify that rotating your defenders doesn't cause inconsistency. In my opinion, it does. Because currently, like you said, we lost Levi Colwill to injury. No doubt. He happened to be our best defender before he actually sustained that ACL injury. If you take a look at Chelsea centre-backs, because that is where our major problem is, we don't have a pairing in the centre-back. In this match, it's either you are seeing George Achampong and Trev, or you are seeing George Achampong and Tosin, or you are seeing Wesley Fofana and Tosin, or you are seeing Trev and West. Stuff like that. There is no balance. There is no balance. And as such, that can cause inconsistency in the defense line. Definitely it will. Regardless of the 4 clean sheets you're comparing this season with and last season. Regardless of it. When you don't have a stable centre-back, when you don't have a centre-back consistently, it causes inconsistency. It causes it. And Enzo Maresca should try to ensure that we have a stable centre-back. If you take a look at Arsenal, we all know that going into a game, the centre-back pairing is William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. No doubt. If Mikel Arteta want to make any rotation in the centre-back, just like we saw in the UEFA Champions League in the midweek, it was Mosquera and Incapi. They got the job done. We all know that William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes are the first choice centre-back for Arsenal. That consistency is there. That consistency is there. So, if you don't have a stable centre-back pairing, it can cause inconsistency. And that is just what we are experiencing at the moment. So, Enzo Maresca was asked on Pedro Neto because in the midweek of the UEFA Champions League, we actually traveled to Azerbaijan, and among the traveling squad, Pedro Neto was actually missing. And I said in my preview of that particular game, I really don't know whether Pedro Neto actually sustained injury, but then that was exactly what it was. Pedro Neto had a slight knock, and when asked about Pedro Neto, and yes, what the manager actually said, he had a section with the physio yesterday on the pitch. It was good. Today we will train. He will train with us, and we will make the final decision. That's quite good to hear. So invariably, Pedro Neto is back into the squad, and we hope to see him come fit in this particular game today. The manager was also asked about Romeo Lavia after sustaining injury in that game against Karabakh. And yes, what Enzo Maresca said. We don't have an update at the moment. We need to wait some hours for all of our checks, for all the checks he needs. At the moment, he is injured. He is in pain. We need to do all the checks. He went on to say, it's a shame. It's a shame in this moment because we were trying to minimize minutes for him. But even with that, he's injured again. We need to insist until we find the right solution. Definitely, the manager has been trying everything in his capacity to ensure that Romeo Lavia is actually fit for games, and he tried to manage him in order to avoid frequent injury, just the way the team have actually done for Rhys James. And I must say, kudos and big ups to the medics, the physio, and all the medics team that have actually worked on Rhys James. Today we can actually see that Rhys James is very well fit. In my post-match conference, after Romeo Lavia got that injury, I think we have not actually heard the good side of Romeo Lavia ever since we signed him. And Chelsea have actually been exercising lots of patience. I think it's high time we actually let Romeo Lavia to be. He's a very good midfielder, no doubt about that. But how long can we continue to cope with these frequent injury worries on Romeo Lavia? Whenever he returns, when we think we are about getting the best of Romeo, he will return back to injury. Not a good one for us, I must say. And Dario Isugo also is on the injury table. The needed time for Moses Caicedo to actually get some rest, knowing fully well that Romeo and Dario Isugo should have been a very good backup for Moses Caicedo. They are all injured. So Moses Caicedo have been working out all the time, game in, game out. But then, it's football. Injury is part of it. And personally, we definitely wish Romeo Lavia speedy and quick recovery this time around. And I want to urge, in my opinion, that he should be given a longer time to actually recover fully well and to be 100% fit before he can actually get into the pitch. I know how most players are always longing to get into the pitch whenever they feel they are okay with the injury, even when they are not fit. So Romeo Lavia should be given that much needed time. He should be 100% fit before the manager can call him into the game. So Enzo Maresca was asked, because going into this game against Wolverhampton Wanderers, Enzo Maresca on Wolf test, because indeed it's a big test. We might actually say Wolverhampton Wanderers is definitely is struggling this season, but it's a test because we know how Chelsea FC can behave. Sometimes we can turn out to be Charity FC. That's what Chelsea are good at. When we think that it was time for us to pick all 3 points against struggling and the worst Manchester United we have seen for a long time, Chelsea went to Old Trafford and actually lost that game to Manchester United. Wolverhampton Wanderers, no doubt, they are struggling. But then, this is a big test. And when Enzo Maresca was asked about the Wolves test, and here's what Enzo Maresca said in his press conference. They changed the manager. So, for sure, some similarities. But these are the games we need to win, because when you do the right things against Liverpool and Tottenham, you need to continue to do that. Definitely, nobody is against that. We actually got it right against Liverpool. We got it right against Tottenham. But we missed it against Sunderland. You didn't mention that. We missed it against Sunderland. We missed it against Brighton, all at Stamford Bridge. We missed it against Manchester United. We missed it against Brentford. These are games ordinarily we would have picked all 3 points and be at the top of the league. But then, games which we are expected to win, those are the games we end up losing. But games that would have been much of a concern, Chelsea turned out to be a different Chelsea entirely, putting up performance that will even wow even we the fans. And that is what we have seen in the games against Liverpool, like the manager said. And that is what we have seen in the games against Tottenham Hotspur. So coming into this game, It's a game that ordinarily, without even much, it's going to be a 3 points. And I think going into this game, all we just need is the best let. The best selection is what we need going into this game. Because after this game, the international break will definitely come in. So just need all 3 points with lots of goals in this particular encounter. Enzo Maresca was asked on the long throw threats from Wolves. And this is what Enzo said. We are looking for a solution. When we were conceding goals against Spurs, it works quite well. But hopefully it can work tomorrow. If you find a solution to put 3 players up on the pitch, they will try to adapt and do something different. Well, let's hope that we actually get it right again, just the way we did against Tottenham Hotspur, not conceding any goals. And also just the way we did against Liverpool in Stamford Bridge, conceding just 1 goal. Definitely it was a tough game. So going into this game, we hope to build up from the Tottenham Hotspur game that we went away to win, not conceding, kept a clean sheet and get all 3 points. And knowing fully well that we are playing the same Wolverhampton Wanderers, the same strength we saw with Wolverhampton Wanderers in round 4 of the EFL Cup game at the Molineux Stadium, is the same strength we are going to see with Wolverhampton Wanderers coming into this Premier League game. The only difference is that they have changed a manager. They are coming with a different manager, maybe though on an interim basis, but then it's still the same squad list that Wolverhampton Wanderers is currently coming with to the bridge. And we hope to capitalize on this advantage that is available to us. The games we have lost this season should have been games that ordinarily we ought to have picked all 3 points. But that is where we sleep, and we hope that won't be the same today. So we hope to see how that play out, if we can actually deal with that long throw threat. We have actually considered goals from long throw 3 times this season, against Brentford, against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and against Sunderland. Let's try and avoid that from actually happening. So, having looked at that, and that was Enzo Maresca's extensive press conference, some of the questions that we needed to hear was actually asked. So, going into this game, notable absentees for this particular game still remain Levi Colwell, Cole Palmer, Bernard Badiachile, and Dario Osugo. No player is suspended. So, we have actually heard from the manager in his press conference. So, going into this game, Chelsea will definitely line up in a traditional 4-2-3-1 formation. So, this will be my selection against Wolverhampton Wanderers going into this game. In goal will be Robert Sanchez. The fullback, I will go with Rhys James and Mark Cucurella. The centre-back pairing will be Trevor Chalobah and Wesley Fofana. The midfield pivot will be Enzo Fernandez and Moses Caicedo. And the attacking midfield trio, the left wing, I will go with Jimmy Gittins. The central attacking midfield position, the number 10 role, I will go with Joao Pedro. And the right wing, I will go with Gustavo Willian. And up front will be Liam Delap. I think going into this game, this is just the best selection we can actually go with. I know some of you will debate why Jimmy Gittins. In my opinion, I think Jimmy Gittins to be at the left attacking wing, having had a good game against Wolverhampton Wanderers in the EFL Cup game in round 4. So I think he can actually replicate that against that right back. I don't know who that right back for Wolverhampton Wanderers was, but Jimmy Gittins was having a fun field day in that particular encounter. So I'll definitely give Jimmy Gittins the nod to start. And also, Gustavo Willian against Wolverhampton Wanderers scored a superb goal. And in the UEFA Champions League, in the midweek, Gustavo Willian was still on the score sheet. So he's a young lad that deserves to start every game that Chelsea is going into. So in my opinion, Gustavo Willian get the nod to start. For Jimmy Gittins and Alejandro Garnacho can actually come in if he's not doing very well. But I think going into this game, this might just be the starting 11 that will give us the needed result going into this particular game. Prediction. I expect Chelsea to defeat Wolverhampton Wanderers with a very heavy scoreline. Believe me, that is just what we need to do. Because Wolverhampton Wanderers currently are the worst team in the English Premier League. Will they survive this season in the Premier League? That is a different game entirely. After 10 games, yet to win, 2 points, 28 games left to play, I don't think Wolverhampton Wanderers will survive the drop this season. So, I got Chelsea to win Wolverhampton Wanderers by 4-1. I wanted to say 4-0, but something still tells me that we will concede. So my prediction, I see a 4-1 win against Wolverhampton Wanderers going into this particular encounter? Who will make your predicted 11 going into this particular encounter? And what is your score prediction? Drop your thoughts down below. Thank you very much for watching, and catch you in the match review after the game. Bye.